Okay, guys, I'm live. So I'm doing a little test to create some of our content a bit more live, and that way, if you guys are available, you can, after this test, you can ask questions directly. So I'm going to be covering Bitcoin today. So hopefully, you guys will catch the replay. And going forward, I will post. I'll give you a heads up when I'm going live next. Okay. So some interesting developments. So right now, I'm just going to quickly post something, and we will get started. Okay. So let's have a little look at Bitcoin, because there's some interesting things happening from a technical point of view. So Bitcoin has basically come down to this zone that I've been speaking about previously, and this is a very nice line, and I think that Bitcoin is going to rally over the next few weeks. Okay, so you can see here that we've basically hit this nice diagonal line. We've rejected, and we've had a nice little holding weekly bar there. Now, sorry about that. There's some loud noises outside. So, I'm expecting that we're going to have a rally. Now, what a lot of people are asking at the moment is, are we at the bottom, or are we going to go lower? Well, nobody can truly answer that, but right now, what I'm more focused on is, are we likely to have a push up? And I think we are. And I think that there's a good chance that we're going to go back and find this old level here of support right there, which comes in about 26,700. So that's really what I'm focusing now. Because it's a weekly chart, that doesn't mean it's going to go straight up. Now, it could, but it could also go down and test these lows down here before going up. So what we need to do is we need to go look at the lower time frames. And when I look at the hourly chart right here, you can see it's kind of going up, but it's really not that strong, just based on the way it's going up. You can see just based on the angle that essentially it's pretty tame. I mean, it was going up at a pretty flat angle. It's now just broken that line, and it's kind of deciding what it wants to do. But I do like a potential setup. Okay, now the entry is going to be kind of something we have to figure out, but I do like this next move up to here. I think this is a really, really nice target for Bitcoin to aim for, 22,500. Okay, why do I think that? Well, because right now the market is basically moving in waves, and it's pulled back into this 70%, this brown line there, which gives us a prediction of this Fibonacci level, which is the 144 extension. What I particularly like about this area is that we also have an old 200 extension, and if you kind of look across on the left hand side, let's get our highlighter, highlight this zone here. Keep going to the left, you can see that there's definitely an area of interest. So I actually think we could even spike up to here, which is about 23,000. And then I think we'll find some resistance where the market will possibly come down. So the markets generally like to find areas of past resistance to target. And I think this is a good target area. Now, the question is like, well, where's a good place to enter? Right now, this market is ranging, and you can see you're getting these kind of fake outs around here, and it's really not the best time to be buying Bitcoin right here, okay? Because you're basically at resistance. Now, what we happen to have right here is what looks like a trap. You can see two big bars right? A breakout, so that's a textbook breakout, and then an immediate close back into the range, which basically means that right now the buys should be to the downside. So until we break back above here, I think the buys is to the downside. So you could look potentially for a lower price, where maybe you can potentially get in to Bitcoin, and you can kind of do something simple here. So we can look for basically areas like here. So this is a good area where it was resistance, became support. The market could target back all the way down there, which would be pretty nice to take out those, that 20,000 and then potentially look to reverse. Or the other way of playing this is to just simply wait for this market to go back above here. So we'll close back above here. A second close above will probably mean a real breakout. So if you close back above here, you could buy as a momentum play to target 22.5 to 23,000, and you could play that one with quite a tight stop. So that's basically what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. And otherwise you're pretty much trading in this range. And I know a lot of guys are trading the range at the moment. And if we just kind of zoom in a little bit here, I'll just draw a couple of things. By the way, guys, let me know in the comments if you can hear me. I'm just, like I said, I'm just doing this as a little test today, but I'm looking to be doing more of these more regularly, because I think it's a good opportunity for you guys to jump in if you're around, and anyone who's in the Crypto and FX Traders Club, I'll give you a little bit of warning before I go live, and that way you guys can jump on whenever you're available, and I'll try and vary the times up as well, just to give you guys an opportunity to to be prepared. So let's have a look. So now let's talk about potentially, is this maybe channeling here? Could we even just scalp a little bit? Let's have a little look. So, and by the way, if you're going to be scalping, I'll just change this line to maybe white. I do recommend that you use a broker with tight spreads. Okay, so with scalping, I wouldn't necessarily do CFDs because, they tend to be bigger spreads. Now, it just depends on how big the scalps are going to be, but generally speaking, you want to try and get good spreads. So like a crypto exchange like Binance, for example. So let's have a little look to see if there's anything here that might be interesting. So we're just drawing that resistance. We're projecting it from here. Let's extend this out. This could be a point of support that the market might find. And actually what's quite interesting about this zone is there's quite a nice level of interest in the past here, isn't there? So that level's about 20,877. So that could be an interesting little bounce area. Let me see if there's anything else that we can spot here that could be of interest. I mean, that's a hidden line there, if you can see that. So you've got this support, and then it's come back into support again. So this could be like, if this is going to break higher, potentially this could go from here, then propel higher, close above here, and then you could take that momentum trade that we were talking about. So if you're looking for a value buy, I would say this area here looks like a decent little value buy. Otherwise, I think if we break through here, then we really could be heading down towards these this area down here as well. Or the market might, what it might do is it might just look for these lows here. This is another interesting area. So the market loves to take out lows, so it could just simply do this. So let me just draw it out for you guys. And by the way, if you're kind of looking at this and thinking, there's too many options here, like that, it could just take out those lows and then ultimately, do that. The reality is to trade well, guys, you need to be prepared for all scenarios and then take action. So right now, if you're a day trader, you could be looking at this area here around 21.6 to potentially look for a short opportunity. Okay, so if you're a day trader, because if you kind of close above here, then like I said before, the momentum is going to be towards the upside. And you can go back to the left hand side and look for past areas of support. But like I said, this is the next obvious area, in my opinion, that the market's going to want to target. Plus it matches up our fib, so that makes it pretty interesting. So Zach, I'm glad that you can hear me. That's awesome. I will, like I said, this is the first time I'm using this software to try this out. So I just wanted to just do a little test. Next time I do this, I will definitely give you guys a heads up ahead of time, just so that you guys can join. Let me know. Do you have any questions for anybody that is live? Let me know if you have any questions. I think, just going back to what I said before, is this the low in Bitcoin? I think we'll have a rally, but I don't necessarily think this is the low yet. I think, at this stage, I definitely think that these prices are fantastic to be buying cryptocurrencies in general. Now, if we just quickly go back to the weekly chart, let's take Bitcoin for example. The reality is this a good price to buy Bitcoin? Well, the last time we were there was back in 2017. So I guess that one thing that people always say to me is that, oh, I wish I'd bought early. I wish I'd bought when Bitcoin was much cheaper. Well, if you had a time machine and could go back to 2017, that was the price that you could buy at, same price as now. Now, so if you kind of buy this here and whatever other cryptocurrencies, and then something like this happens, and then something like this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, well, the reality is, it would have been overall better to wait down here. And this is possible, by the way, 12,000. The fib is pointed to exactly 10,800 back at this level down here. So that's possible. But if you buy some here, there's a chance that it may not go down lower. Okay, so the thing is like people wait, and sometimes they think, oh man, I'm going to buy it cheaper, and then what happens is it's gone all the way up here, and that's the risk that you take. Okay, because sometimes Bitcoin can get quite parabolic, like here, and you just simply don't get a chance. So right now it's a bear market. It's the perfect time to be just buying, accumulating, and trading, like trading with the way that I'm showing you in today's live. So the question is I have a question. Would a potential rally be much smaller than last year's due to the macroeconomic influences? Well, I mean that's a good point. I think that yes, at the conditions right now are very different to what they've been in the past, but ultimately, we're talking about an asset class that supposedly is primed for these types of conditions. It's supposed to be an inflation hedge. So, I mean, it's very difficult to judge that, if I'm being honest. Right now, I think, the way that I prefer to kind of look at this is trade what makes sense. So, like, if you have that kind of feeling that maybe the rally is not going to be as much, you can kind of use these lower time frames, like the hourly time frame, and this is a much safer way of doing it. So we can, let's say, predict a breakout up to here and then get out and take our profits, and then if the market comes back and gives us another opportunity, then we could all get back in. There'll be others that kind of buy this and look to try and target back to, say, 26 or 27,000. But it may not get there, right? Because maybe that's too obvious, and then the market goes lower, and then in that case, you end up making a loss on a trade that you could have made money on. So, I mean, yes, it makes sense what you're saying, but equally, I do think that it's quite hard to say whether that would be the case. Ultimately, it comes down to, sentiment. It's not necessarily what's going on in the macro world, but how people are perceiving that and how people are perceiving Bitcoin in all of that. So, yeah, I mean, you can definitely kind of have that stance and just trade on lower time frames. And another question I've got here is, do you think we're going to 12,000? Well, I guess the question is that, is this the low? Is this the low in Bitcoin? And if we're saying no, if we're saying that actually there is potential for this to go lower, well, where is the next obvious place? Well, the next obvious place is where it's been before, okay, which is past resistance. So that the next level down comes in about, say, just shy of 14,000. But I do have this Fibonacci here, and Bitcoin does like to overextend, and I really like this down here around 10,399. I mean, we've come this far down, right? I mean, I don't think there's many of us that necessarily totally believed that we would be down here when we were up here. I actually remember doing one of the Pips Like a Pro shows, and we spoke about 12,000 back then, and I don't know if any of you remember that, but we spoke about 12 or 10,000 many months ago. But I don't think, we said, I remember myself saying, it's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen, right? It's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. But obviously now, we're much, much closer to 12,000 than we are back to the all-time highs. So I think it's definitely possible that we go and hit those lows. But I'd be surprised if we don't get that rally first. I know, Zach, I know you were saying before you were expecting 20,000 to be the low. I think it could be, but at the moment there's so much going on that I would be surprised. I mean, just the fact that the fear index is so high, I'm expecting that, the market should rally, but how far up it's going to rally is really difficult to say at this stage. So I would just say right now, play it by ear. It's in a bear market, and this is a bounce area, and I think we could potentially look to get up to maybe $5,000 or $6,000 move there, and then I think at that point we're going to have to wait and see what happens. And I think a lot of the Fed decision is going to have an impact on this as well. The future Federal Reserve meetings are going to definitely have an impact. So definitely look out for that, because if for example the Powell decides to take to tame down future rate hikes, then I think that will help Bitcoin really rally a lot more. But at the moment, the way that it's looking, it looks like it's they're going quite aggressive to control inflation, and and I think it's going to be that's going to definitely have an impact. But yeah, so right now I just think the best thing to do is to buy cheap on projects that you like, and then trade to grow your account. And also you can trade other asset classes like Forex, of course, to grow your wealth, to grow your money, if you have that knowledge. And then what's the last thing I want to leave you with, guys, is this. In my opinion, this is a life-changing opportunity. Why? Because we never really believed that we could get these prices again, and they're here. And a lot of people have lost a lot of money and are now really kind of in a difficult position. They put everything into Bitcoin, everything into cryptos, and they've lost a lot of money. But what I advise you to do is to just put that aside, put that disappointment aside, and focus on, wait, hold on a minute. If I can make money in the next few months, trading or whatever else you're doing in your life, I'm going to have the opportunity to load up on cryptos at dirt cheap prices. So what was maybe $30 now might be $3 or $4 or $5, right? Which basically means that and some of these you're buying 10 times sometimes the amount that you would have bought a few months ago. So it's almost like your £1,000 becomes 10 for some of these projects. And imagine what you could do with that if you get it right and you just hold on over the next few years. So I would always look at the positives of what's gone on, and just focus on what can I do right now to increase my cash so that when I'm ready, I can be loading up on the projects that I believe in, because one day, these cryptos are going to be much higher, much higher. And, if we were looking back, for example, here when Bitcoin was all the way down here, 5,000-6,000, a lot of people might have said, oh, I could have bought it down here, lower, cheaper, whatever. But eventually, those that held on and this is like years here, look what happened, right? And this is going to be the same here. This could be months, it could be years, but I do believe at some point we are going to go much higher. And those that are brave enough to hold on and do the smart thing now are going to really change their lives and possibly generations' lives. Yeah, and look, Snake Trader, I think if we do hit 12K, I think that is a blessing and an opportunity rather than... And by the way, there's a lot of talk of, is Bitcoin going to go to zero? Don't let that fear kind of dictate what you're doing. That's the kind of thing we want to hear. We want to hear these negative news. Because why? Because retail traders get affected by those kind of things. And it creates panic, and it means the price of Bitcoin is going to get cheaper with headlines like that. But I don't believe companies like JP Morgan and the like are buying Bitcoin willy-nilly. I think that they do their research, and I think the chances of that happening is remote, in my opinion. But of course, there's always risks. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but I think it's highly unlikely, because it's just gone too far, in my opinion. There's too much interest now from big institutions for them to ever allow it to go to zero. Yes, a great question there, Nerson. How much impact can still the Fed's going down? Is everything priced on the charts? Yeah, everything is priced on the charts right now, absolutely. So all the information that we have is available on the charts. That's priced in, including sentiment, including what the Fed has said and what they've implied. But future meetings could change that. Okay, so they've already said, they've got their stance, but they can change their stance, because if certain metrics, economic indicators change, then they can change as well. So sentiment might change. So just have that in mind as well. But absolutely, everything is priced in as of now with the information available. Okay, so you're supporting Bitcoin going down to $100 and then rallying to 60,000. Yeah, that would be nice. Imagine the panic and the fear. But there's already enough of that. Okay, guys. Well, look, I hope that was remotely useful for you. But if you guys are interested in doing more of these kind of things, I'm definitely keen to do them. So, make sure you're part of the Crypto and FX Traders Club. I'll put a link in the comments. And going forward, we may even do some new polls in there and see what people are interested in. and we'll try and really create some useful value for you guys to help you along your trading journey. So thanks for those that tuned in. I know this was an impromptu live. Like I said, I'm using a new software and I just wanted to just give it a little test. Probably should do these tests when I'm not live, but that's just the way I am. I just kind of go with it. I thought, well, I'm going to break down Bitcoin anyway. May as well do it live and see who's around. But thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll catch you again soon with another one. Take care, everybody.